I'm just hanging out in my car on my lunch break and thought I would come on and say hello. I don't have a chance to go live very often. I only have about 40 minutes, so if you're just hanging out and you have any questions for me, if you want to talk about something you're experiencing, obviously, usually I talk about abuse when I'm on here, but anything is fair game whenever I go live. I like to talk about a lot of other things too, so like travel and being a mom and I don't know, whatever. How have you been doing? Good to see you live. Thank you so much. I'm doing pretty well. I've actually been in, I'm also sorry, my phone is charging. My charger died. So it's like super low and I have it plugged in and obviously I'm sitting in my car. So bear with me. But I have made a tiny bit of content and or shared on Instagram that I hit like a PTSD wall. I keep wanting to call it a setback, but it's not a setback. It's just a part of the healing journey. Like obviously when we have CPTSD, when we're recovering from abuse, we're going to have times where it's hard. The reality hits you of like what you're going through, what you went through, what you still have ahead of you. Something triggers you and, sets your body back. Having some physical issues come back up that it's very lonely. And so I've been in this time of like sort of low power mode where I had to drop the ball on a lot of things and like be okay with that. And learning to be okay with being less productive is very hard for me and for a lot of survivors. So I'm in the middle of that. The last video I posted was like, reduce your expectations to zero because, there comes a time when like for the first couple of days of this like setback that I'm in, I was like trying to white knuckle it. I was like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep creating content. I'm going to keep doing all this stuff. Like I can't drop the ball on this. And I was like, you know what? Like I can't help anyone if I'm not helping myself. If I can't like eat and can't do like the tasks that I need to be doing, how do I expect myself to be able to like genuinely make content, respond to people in a productive way, take care of my kid, all of the stuff. So I like stopped cleaning the house. I I kind of also stopped like talking to a lot like friends. Like I just was having a really hard time responding to people. Almost felt like a depression thing, but obviously this is part of the PTSD. Is that like again that low power mode? Yeah, low power mode is a thing where you're just kind of like I gotta peel this back. I just have to exist for a little bit. Just have to exist. Let myself, get through that time. But I feel like hopefully it's going to be a little bit of an uptick here. Just hopped on and I love your new hair. Thank you. I remembered I've just been so busy and I worked a lot last week, like my real work. If you don't know, I'm a sign language interpreter. That's where I am now. That's where I make my money. I don't really make money off of social media. Every once in a while I have like a lucky month where I'll make some off of Instagram or something. I like to be really honest with people because a lot of people like to come in my comments and be like, you're out here making money off of people. And I'm like, I wish, I wish I was. Then I wouldn't have to leave my kid as much. But I remember that I'm like in this wedding this weekend. I'm going to a wedding and I'm in it. So I was like, I got my nails done. I just kept it simple. And I was like, I'm going to go get my hair done because it had been a long time. I needed a trim. And every time I go, I'm like, keep it my natural hair color. And she swears this is my natural hair color. It's not. This is dark. But I do like it. Hey, Murph, how's it going? It's been a while. So thank you. I just got diagnosed with depression on top of my anxiety and PTSD. I totally get it. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, that's a lot. And I don't mean that in like, obviously, I hope you know that I don't mean that in a judgmental way, but it's just so much that like, that crossed my mind too, was like, well, if I saw someone else, would they also add some other diagnoses onto? I just, like, a couple months ago got diagnosed with ADHD, which I already knew. I mean, it's been obvious my whole life. And PTSD. And it's so much that like so many different things, and obviously it's also complex and we're all different, but like it's all of this stuff and like none of us asked for any of it, and here we are just trying to freaking survive. Like, yeah, consistency is hard with it as a collective. Not sure that I know what that was about. I'm sorry you're struggling. Take any time you need. We understand. Yeah, thank you so much. And you know what? To be honest, like at first I didn't share how I was feeling, and I shared it on Instagram, and I was just amazed by the responses that I received of people being like, honestly, take as much time. Like, not one person was like, I'm sure some people thought it, but nobody said anything. And I was like, oh yeah, like a lot of people will say like, please keep making the content. It means so much to me. It's really helping me. And that really, really is helpful. It keeps me going. And I say that all the time. Like every time I'm like, you know what, I think I'm not going to talk about abuse anymore. Like someone reaches out and they're like, your podcast saved me, or your video, I saw a couple of your reels and it saved me. And I'm like, holy shit, this is so important. But also there's enough out there already that I can take breaks, and other people are talking about it too. It's not just me, that like, I can take breaks and or I can rest so that I can come back recharged and come up with new ideas and come up with new things and share new things and be present with you all again. Like I don't have, like, people take vacations, people take days off of work. People like, why do we have this, some of us in our brains, that like we can't ever take breaks because otherwise we're like horrible. It's crazy. ISL, yes. Hi, welcome. How's it going? Hi, your hair looks amazing darker. Hope you're well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do love it. We'll see if I keep dyeing it, because I literally was like, I'm not going to dye it anymore. I have only ever dyed my hair twice. One was when I first left my abuser, and then I just did another one after, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to let the grays show. I have a lot of grays. They're all right down the middle, which is why I'm enjoying this middle part right now. I'm usually like, just cover them up. But I do like it, so we'll see. ADHD drains. Don't stop that. That's why we need to recharge. Yeah, it's exhausting. Can't hold still. Can't finish tasks. We're supposed to be productive and like brains. Yeah, thank you. I was like, we're almost there. I think I understand what you're saying, but yeah, ADHD brains don't stop. Like I don't sleep well, and then with the PTSD, like having nightmares or waking up a lot, like if I hear a sound, I wake up. I mean, it could be like the wind blows too hard and I wake up. And yeah, I try to remember to use like white noise and stuff. But, and then yeah, like, like juggling, like, and a lot of people with ADHD as well. Like I have 2 careers. Social media is really a hobby, because again, I don't really get paid for it. But we'll call it 3 careers, because this is like full time. I do this a lot. And then like I'm a mom. My kid, like I stay home with my kid a lot. Most of the time I'm with him, homeschooling him. He's only 4, so it's not like I have like this crazy structure and stuff, like, but like doing it all the time, and like taking longer because it takes so long to complete a task, and just having your brain constantly with 400,000 tabs open, and then getting triggered by something on your like PTSD healing journey, and then yeah, when's the last time we recharged? When's the last time we let go of some of these things? And I'm trying to share that because I want other people to see what I'm going through and be like, oh yeah, like a lot of people were like, thank you for saying that. I'm here too. I need to take a break too. Like give myself permission to do that. But it's so hard. It's so hard. And like, I live with another person. I share the house with another person, another adult. And when you cohabit with someone, like I feel a lot of pressure because I'm home more often to keep the house clean, to do all this stuff, like all of this stuff. If you live alone, you can just like trash your house and be like, I know I'm going through this hard time and I will get it cleaned. I'm not going to give myself too much pressure. But if there's another person, there's even more pressure. And then you also have to hope that they're not going to get upset with you, which like I feel like if they're a healthy person, they're going to be like, you look like you're about to break, so I will do the dishes, or like, whatever. But it's a lot. And I feel like even when I shared, I was like, y'all, I need a minute. I was like, why am I saying this? Because we're so trained to not, 1, to not need a minute, and 2, to not show that we need a minute. Like we're just supposed to be like, like go, 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 and then we close the door behind us, like to the bathroom or the bedroom or to our house, like wherever it is that we're alone, and be like, oh my God, I'm gonna break, but I can't show anyone else. We're not supposed to talk about it. still. And like, obviously it's getting better, but there's just so much. Every time I share something vulnerable or like, this is what I'm experiencing, I'm like, surely there are people like, why is she sharing this? Everyone goes through this, but like, more people should be talking about this. Like, we should be able to look at each other and be like, you're having a rough time, me too. We're having, like, let's have a break without feeling like we're bitching. Like, because a lot of times it's like, if you complain, if you don't feel good, whatever, you're just complaining, you're whining, like, get over it. Because that's how our parents were, right? Hello, the dark hair looks great. Thank you. Yep, I'm on sick leave to recuperate. I'm glad you have that option. I just went no contact with my abuser. Your content got me there. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I honestly, I can't tell you enough how much it means to me. Yes, white noise is a must. ADHD makes trying to sleep miserable. It's horrible. God, my total functionality is completely hindered with my PTSD. You're doing incredible. It sucks. It feels so nice. I'm so glad I came out here because I'm like, I only have like, actually, I have more time than I thought. But I kind of was like, oh, I don't want to come on here and just like piss and moan about how I feel. But every single time that I do, y'all are like relating and, you know, validating me, and I'm validating you, and we're validating each other just by existing, just by being like, this is real life. Like, this is how it is for a lot of us. And obviously, I know that this is a safe space, and I know, like, literally, I have yet to share one thing that not one person was like, yeah, me too. Like, one time I shared that when I run, my legs get so itchy that I will have like a sensory freak out and try to itch my legs off. Like, I don't know why. And no less than like 20 or 30 people were like, that happens to me too. I thought I was the only one. Like, we're out here relating to each other, and it's so nice. Letting go is so hard. It really is. It really, really is. And not feeling bad about it, not feeling guilty, not feeling like you're messing up. Like, I took a break from doing one-on-ones because I'm a trauma recovery coach, and I was like, I need a break from talking about this for a little bit in terms of like the deepest, darkest, like, we can talk about abuse right now because I'm here. If I'm here, it's fair game. I had some, like, my podcast, I actually worked ahead, so I didn't have to record it, so I didn't have to sit here and talk about my own abuse or anything like that. I need a break from this. But I'm like, you worked so hard to get here. You worked so hard to be a trauma recovery coach. How dare you take 1 to 2 weeks off from coaching people? What if after that no one wants to book you again? What if they don't? What if they don't? You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to let go in those moments. And there's so many what ifs, especially with PTSD, ADHD, there's a lot of crossover with those two things, or any other thing that we might have going on amongst us in this group right now. Like, our brains will just go. And it is, yeah, it's very, very hard to give yourself permission and to just be like, that's going to be okay then. You know, that's going to be okay. I'm going through stuff. Job, loss of grandson, so I feel what you're saying. I'm so sorry for your loss. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My son has ADHD. We struggled when he was young. Now he's an adult, and it is better. I have a feeling my son is going to have it. He's 4, so it's like, how much of that is being 4? But also, I have moments where I'm like, shit, I see me. No, I don't want that for you. I am about to break. That's the real. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for seeing me / hearing me saying this and relating and, you know, acknowledging that that's real. And like, that it's valid and fair to be able to say that, to feel that, and to say it out loud. And, you know, it makes me so sad that how many people, like, when you look around a room of people, how many people are on the verge of a breakdown? Oops, my phone's mad at me. But yeah, and don't feel like they can show it. Don't feel like they can say that. Don't feel like they can take a step back. And it's not fair. Like, it's such, like, we live in such a strange time. Like, one, we are getting more able to talk about it, but still, it's so ingrained in us. I've only been met with judgment with my illness, physically and mentally. It's so nice having you here. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I was able to, or that this room, we'll call it a space that we're in right now, was able to do that for you. Agreed. Yep, if you say mental illness, that can be used against you. Absolutely. And especially, obviously, if you're with an abusive person or an unsafe person who who's going to use it against you, who's going to use it to their advantage, all of that stuff. And that's actually, I have it in the pipeline to talk about my experience with my abuser using my ADHD against me and to further, invalidate me, devalue me, isolate me, make me more dependent on them for everything. You can't live without me because I handle your vitamins and I make your son lunch when, it would have taken you an extra hour to get that done. I help you with the nighttime routine. Oh, I help you with this, help you. You can't do anything because you have ADHD. Who's going to help you? How are you going to live without me? And that happens a lot. I have briefly publicly talked about those things where if you already had I'm just going to say condition, I don't know, struggle, because most of us have something that we're dealing with, and they know that early on, they will use it against you, right? They'll use it as a way to oh, I'm going to help you, I'm going to support you, now I'm going to use it against you. Or if you were doing okay, you were relatively unscathed or whatever, then you become so dysregulated throughout the abuse that you're crazy looking. They're going to use that against you. And that's when you start to see abusive people diagnosing you with, the PTSD, or sorry, not PTSD, you have disorganized attachment. That was what my abuser would tell me, which I don't. Surely I did with them, but it was PTSD, dysregulation, and all that stuff. But in general, in my life, I don't usually have those connections with people where I'm just frazzled all the time. But they'll say that you have BPD. If you have BPD, and here I am not judging you, I am not anti-BPD, but they will say, oh my gosh, you have this, you have, you're bipolar, they'll start to diagnose you with things, whether you have that or not, and use that to control you, to devalue you, all of that stuff. So no, he's old. He knows how to mask. He found a non-stimulant medication and lots of therapy. I love when people talk amongst themselves, as long as it's kind. Sometimes usually my mods catch it, though. I'm glad you came on. Nice to know we are not alone in this. I'm glad I came on, too, so thanks for being here, everybody. Therapy is great, and it's a brain neurotype, not a curable or mental illness. No, but what if you get so freaked out that you can't do it all together? Take time. Yeah, exactly. And I got to the point where I was about to lose it, and luckily I caught it and was I'm done. And I think I said on Instagram, I said, if I've dropped the ball on you lately, I apologize. I'm dropping a lot of balls lately, and I've realized that I just need to set them down and come back for them later. And everyone's come back for them later. Balls bounce. People were very understanding, but yeah, it's very hard. And I think as survivors, a lot of times we don't trust our instincts. My body and my brain were whoa, why is she still galloping ahead like this? We're pulling the reins back. She's still going. But absolutely, the way that we push ourselves until we break versus being whoop, I'm feeling a little bit I'm going to say fragile, because fragile is not a bad thing. And we're so freaking strong, and we don't have to be that all the time. And so allowing yourself to be we're fragile right now. The protection is down. We're tired. Brain's fried, body's fried. Don't work out for a couple of days. Don't do this for a couple of days. Don't do that. And it really has helped. Getting my hair done really helped. Just sitting there talking to the hairdresser, getting my hair brushed and washed, and just being out of my house really helped. And then just oh, my hair looks lovely. I don't know actually how to style my hair, so don't get used to this, but sometimes it's just the tiniest thing that can reset us, but you do have to let go and let that happen. Thank you all for the likes, by the way. Yes, it's been such a hard time feeling this. I do feel a lot of people are struggling right now. Obviously, we're leading up to the holidays, and I think that a lot of us have that. You've probably heard The Body Keeps Score. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score. I believe that The Body Keeps Score. Our brains and our bodies know things that we consciously just have no idea of, so things can just come back up for us. And so a lot of us, if the holidays were traumatizing, come holiday time, we're getting sick, we're getting headaches, we're getting fatigue, because our bodies just know. And having the awareness to be able to be like, the holidays are gonna suck for me. I'm in a low power mode. I'm gonna cut out these 5 things from my life that are, I'm trying to do right now, and I will come back to them in January or something like that. It's really hard, very, very hard. You're so inspiring. Thanks for being real. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Like, I know I say that every single time, but it really does. It still blows my mind that, I do still get a lot of really stupid, rude comments from people, and obviously not everyone is going to like me. And a lot of people are instantly going to dislike me because I'm talking about vulnerable things, and a lot of people aren't ready for that. But I say it every time, like, it blows my mind that people trust me and want to hear what I have to say and want to talk to me. Not because I don't think that I'm interesting or smart or anything, but it just, like, I never thought that I would be here, and I so appreciate it. And I hope that I don't see myself becoming like a cocky a-hole, but I hope that I always, like, stay grateful and stay humble for this and what you all have given me. But when you see your son grow, and acknowledge the struggle, so you will I think I understand what you're saying, and yes, I agree. Thank you for your content. I relate to so much of it. Thank you so much. Do you still have random flashbacks about moments of your abusive relationships? Sometimes I do, and I have had a lot lately. And I do believe that's one of the. So I was reflecting, and I had a coaching session yesterday. I don't do therapy, and I've been public about this. I don't trust therapists yet. I hope to someday, but as of now, because of my experience with therapy in an abusive relationship, I don't trust them. But I'm working with a trauma recovery coach who went through the same program as I did. We're both, certified trauma recovery coaches, and she's coaching me. And I coach another coach. Like, it's like a barter circle that we do to provide coaching for the coaches who also have mental health issues most of the time. All of us do. And, just thinking about, like, how did I get into this? Like, why am I here? Why do I feel like this? I don't want to feel like this. I want to keep feeling good. I've been doing so well. And we talked about some of the things that sort of led up to my needing to go into low power mode. And I've had several triggers lately, and I actually made videos about them. So if you scroll back just a little bit, the one with that hat, I'm putting on the beanie. And, like, I saw a picture of me in a beanie, and I, like, happy on the beach with my son and my dogs. And I flashed back to, like, us sitting down in a restaurant in the winter during COVID. So it was, like, in an outside area. And they just, like, reached across the table and took the beanie off. And I remember at the time I was like, why'd they do that? And it was because I looked too lesbian. If you don't know, I'm a lesbian. And I'm like, I am a lesbian, and it's cold out, and I should be allowed to wear a beanie. Why would you take my hat off? If I have the hat on, it's because I want the hat on. I'm cold, or I like it. That's like someone just, like, taking your earrings off or taking your coat off for you or something. It's like, I put it on. I'll remove it from my body when I want it removed from my body. And it wasn't like a traumatic one, but it's these little, like, I made a video about putting my hair up a certain way and remembering them dog whistling, which is, saying something to cause you to feel shitty. And these are, like, little ones, but recently I also made a video about this, and I'm going to do a trigger warning because it was about physical abuse. I saw a bruise on my son's leg that's this big when I was helping him get ready, and I remembered a bruise that I had that they had given me, and I recalled, which I had completely forgotten, that we had a roommate at the time, and had I shown her that bruise, it would have saved me and my son so much trauma. She would have helped me out. Like, she was right there, and she loved me, and she was my friend, my colleague, and it broke me. Like, that was right at the start of, like, and that could have been one of the things that set me into this low power mode. But I remembered, again, trigger warning for physical abuse if you need to take a minute to mute me or something. I remembered them shutting my leg in the door. And as much as I've done really well, remembering, like, I think for me, I've done so well because I do have so much awareness of who they are and why, how they got that way, what they're doing, like, what this kind of abuse is, why they do it, what it means, that it had nothing to do with me. It's helped me heal so much, and that's part of what I do with my videos and with coaching, is like giving you the tools and understanding, because I believe that education can heal you. Not completely, it's education and therapy, education and time, education and a safe space for a calm nervous system, whatever other tools we have in our tool belts to heal, because this is complex shit, right? And I forgot what I was gonna say. My brain just went. My brain just totally went. I apologize. I don't know. Oh yeah. So I feel like I've done so well because my brain just like would like rationalize everything in terms of like, okay, well, you can now move on. You can now get over it because you understand that they did not love you. You were supply. You did not love them. You were in a trauma bond. Like everything had a meaning and I understood. But then when I remembered, like whenever I remember the physical abuse, which people will say, you know, the emotional abuse was so much worse, and I don't like to compare because all abuse is horrible and should not be happening. I do believe that, you know, the hurdles that we have to go over to understand and heal from emotional and mental abuse is like, for me, it's like, well, this person got mad, they lashed out, they did XYZ physically. It's like physical abuse makes so much more sense in our minds. So I do believe that mentally it's just a lot of work, right? But when someone physically harms you, there's something that like to your core, it's so horrible, because to be able to look at someone that you supposedly care about and then harm their body, which they only get one of. And again, like mentally harming someone in the way that these abusive people do it, I cannot, it's all horrible. So I hope nobody's taking this as me saying one is worse than the other, because I hate them both. They're all horrible. But like that moment when I was like, oh my, like how could you treat my body in such a way? That's devastating. And so for me to be able to, maybe I should do a podcast about that. I did do that video and I was like sort of like really triggered. I had to pull off. I'm like borderline crying. I had to redo some of the video so I was calm by the time I redid the rest of the video. But like, it's very, very difficult to accept that someone did those things to you. And then especially when we're looking at physical abuse that's outside of what we all were trained to believe was physical abuse, which was only like, they did like, you know, I'm not going to say specific things, but they left marks on your body and they put you in the hospital. That's physical abuse. Anything else is like, oh, they got angry. They pushed you. Oh, they got angry. They, you know, oh, you know, that's not abuse. It is. It is. Locking you in a room, blocking you from leaving, taking your keys, taking your phone, that's all physical abuse. Punching the wall beside you is physical abuse. Throwing something at you is physical abuse. Physical abuse is so much more than what we were taught to believe based on like movies and like the shit that our parents tolerated. I am on a rant. Who gave me this microphone? I don't even know if y'all want me on this pedestal, or not pedestal, what is it called? Pedestal. What is it called? Thing that I'm on. Whatever. I'm going to read some of your comments now. So how do you handle the flashbacks to abusive moments? I got out of an abusive marriage. So y'all both asked about flashbacks at the same time. I just went on a rampage there. I'm going to read some of your comments here in a second because I'm sure y'all said some stuff while I was going off. I slow down. I stop what I'm doing. Like I said, I looked at the clock. I was driving to work. I was bawling. I need to pull over. I did choose to make a TikTok video once I was calmer because I was like, and I say in the video, like I committed to sharing the peaks and the valleys. And I wanted other people to see what I was going through, to know, because this is the first time that I've had like, again, a quote unquote setback where I'm like, I hate this. Why do I feel like this? I thought I was doing so well. And this is going to happen again, period. This is a part of healing. So I slow down. I breathe. I, tell myself where I'm at, that, flashbacks are a normal part of this, that I don't have control over when they come, that person doesn't have access to me anymore. Whatever things that you can do, like, maybe I look at a picture of my dog. If I'm not with my dog, if my dog is there, she's on me because I trained her as an emotional support animal, Pip, who a lot of you probably know and recognize from my videos. And I never got to finish her training. because she was taken away from me so much, so often. And, you know, I was told she wasn't mine, but she comes and sits with me and calms me. I'll hug my son. He's very aware of my emotions. And while I don't let myself like break in, like, I'm not going to scream and cry and throw a fit in front of him, throw a fit, but I will be like, and like he'll see me and I'm like, I could use a hug. My brain is feeling really weird. And he'll give me a hug. I also don't want him to think that he is in charge of my emotions and like he's the only one who can fix me. But whatever is around me that's calming, or like one day I was crying, but I was happy crying, and I held him. He wanted to give me a hug, and I was like, I'm happy crying, and it's normal to cry, and it's okay to cry. I'm gonna let myself cry for a minute because I think that crying is really important. And then we started playing and laughing. So that acknowledging it, letting it happen, and then redirecting versus like immediately redirecting so that we don't feel it. Because I think I always say like feel it to heal it, and a lot of people say that, but you have to feel that and acknowledge that what's happening within you, and don't run from it. Obviously calm yourself and be like, yeah, that person did some horrible things to me. That did happen. And also I'm safe now. I hope that's helpful. Obviously we're all different. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I only have a couple minutes here, y'all. So almost died on Thanksgiving. So they're with you with the trauma holidays. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I almost died from the stress of my PTSD, so I really hope you take care of yourself. Thank you so much. And that message goes to everybody in here. Your page has helped so much. All my unexplained symptoms weren't as random as I thought. Not at all. I don't think I've done a podcast on that yet. I've made a couple of videos talking about the unexplained symptoms that I had. And obviously I just did one the other day that was a little bit vague. And there was like one person who was like, you need to say more. And I'm like, I actually don't. I've said a lot. But I also have it on my list to do a podcast, like talking about the timeline of my symptoms and my problems and my mental health problems and my physical health problems, and the like shoots and ladders shit where I was like up here and just shooted because I guess the ladder goes up. I shootsed my way. They shootsed me all the way to the bottom. And just talk about that, and then the frustrations of seeking help from like medical providers and all the things that I paid for. I went to acupuncture. Pretty sure I called a medium. I did all kinds of things trying to get better. And then leaving, I am better. Like, if I get, like, as survivors, a lot of us end up getting autoimmune issues that will be, like, if we get to a certain level of stress, like, my pain will come back. It's not as bad. It's much shorter, and I have awareness of what it is. And I'm like, ooh, I need to eat well. I need to rest. I need to drink water. I need to calm my brain, and this will go away. Versus when I was in it and there was no fixing it. But yeah, I'm absolutely happy to talk about that more because I think that it's something that isn't talked about as much. Also, I've been tweeting more. I don't know if y'all are on Twitter, but it's the Lynn's Goodman over there. And I do tweet. I share a lot of the like good tweets that get traction on Facebook or to like my Instagram page, but not on here because TikTok is just different. Hi, Chelsea. Your content has helped me so much. Thank you so much. I really can't. I say it every time. It means so much to me. Oops, sorry, I should warn you before I tell you trauma, that's my bad. You know what, y'all, you can share with me, and sometimes I might get a little bit triggered. Sometimes I might be like, I just remembered something too, or it's really hard. Like, it's very hard for us to sometimes hear other people's trauma because it's so painful, and like, obviously a lot of us have so much empathy, but I want you guys to feel safe. If I'm here, you can ask me questions, and you can tell me things. That's okay. Agreed. Mine was physical, mental, and emotional, and it lasted 27 years. I've been out for 6 months now. I am so proud of you for getting out. I can and also cannot imagine 27 years of that shit. I love it. Keep going. Thank you. Any insight into stimming, i.e. use of stimulus to dissociate? So you use some form of, I don't know that I have enough time to talk about that. Avoiding makes PTSD worse, confronting it is so freeing. Exactly, which is a very difficult thing to learn because we've all spent so much time running from it, constantly moving, coping mechanisms like alcohol, like, addictions, things like that. Buying plants was one that I did, just running. But as long as we keep running, it stays in there. Took a nap and had a bad dream. Felt like I was back in the abuse. I hear you. Okay, y'all, I gotta get going. I feel safe with you. Thank you so much. That's my goal. I had a lot of stomach problems after the relationship with a narcissist. Is this normal? Absolutely, absolutely. I will try to talk about that more. Our bodies suffer so much when our brains, like, if y'all know about like the brain body connection, like your brain, and I think it's the vagus nerve, I could be wrong, but like your brain is literally connected to your gut by a nerve, and they communicate with each other. So like if you're not like eating well, or you have like worms or something, like your body is gonna mess up your mental health. Like your physical body is like, and then your mental health is bad. If your mental health is bad, your brain's like, oh gosh, gut, and then your gut is gonna get off balance. Like it's wild. I'm not a doctor, so like do some research on your own. Like I'm not a doctor, but this is what I have learned from my experience and from actually finding people who talk about this and know about this and all of that stuff. Hopefully more people will start talking about it. There's actually someone that I follow on Twitter now who talks about that, and I share her stuff every single time. But yeah, you will probably have physical health problems like that are just inexplicable. They come out of nowhere. In terms of stimming, I apologize that I went off of that. I just feel like I don't have enough time to like go into that. And I don't know if you're trying to stop doing that, or if you're like, is this okay to do that? So I apologize that I can't dive into it more. I do have to go in. My work is calling me back in, so I have 5 minutes to get in there. So thank you all so much for hanging out. This has been really awesome for me as well. So I appreciate you all holding space for me and validating me and my feelings. And I'm glad that sometimes I wish I was the only one who's going through this stuff, but also it's so nice to know that we're not alone, right? So everyone, please go drink some water, take care of yourself, do something nice for yourself, read a book, take a bath. I don't know, whatever that looks like for you, because obviously this isn't the most fun thing to talk about, but it's very important. And again, I appreciate all of your trust and that you give me this space to share with all of you. So thank you all and have a good night. I will be back when I can.